Hi there. In this lesson, we're going to take a look at the characteristics of culture. So, our learning target or our learning objective for this lesson is I can identify the key elements of culture. So, go ahead and copy that learning objective into that top orange box in the notes. So, what actually is culture? Well, culture is the collection of beliefs and actions that define a person's way of life, and really a group of people's way of life. So it's how we think about the world, it's how we interact with the world. It's shaped both by interior things and exterior things. It's how we communicate with each other. It's how we make sense of everything that's going on. So if you take all of that stuff together, that's what we mean when we say culture. Collectively, it is all of the beliefs and actions that define people's way of life. So, in this, we are not going to have time, or really, it's not appropriate, it's not reasonable or realistic to try and look at every single thing within the broad context of culture. So, we're going to focus primarily on five main things. And those five things, they can really be useful to use the acronym SCLAR to help you remember them easier. So, what SCLAR stands for is on the left here, we can see the SCLAR. And what that means is social organization, customs and traditions, language, arts and entertainment, and religion. So, let's dive in. Social organization. What is it? Well, it's the way that a culture organizes its members. It's kind of how do you determine who's more towards the top of the social hierarchy and who's more towards the bottom. Now, family is the most important unit of social organization, and you have a variety of ways of even organizing those families. Some cultures, they are more patriarchal, which means the male or the father is in charge of the family. Some are more matriarchal, where the mother is in charge of the family. A lot of modern cultures are kind of like they're more equal, so where you have both parents equally in charge of the family. But how you organize your family, that's what we're referring to when we talk about social organization. It's also how you organize other people in those societies, in those cultures. So in America, one of the ways that we organize our society is based on money, it's based on wealth. And so if you look at the amount of money that somebody has in American culture, that's something that, for better or for worse, is a part of how we organize our members, who's at the top and who's more towards the bottom. So, what is the function? Why do that? Well, it allows cultures to organize and recognize those around them, and it helps us, again, make sense of everything that we're seeing in the world. So, that's social organization. Customs and traditions are a little bit different. I'm going to move my head out of the way here. And customs and traditions are patterns of behavior handed down from generation to generation. And what this means is it helps you promote a common history and a common view of the world. And these are things that are really unique, and they're more of the exterior visual aspects of culture. For example, when my wife and I got married, we did this unity candle, right? We took these two candles, and the way that it works essentially is it's a tradition that we thought was valuable to keep going. So what the tradition is the husband lights a candle and the wife lights a candle, and then you bring your two candles together and you use the flame of both of your candles to light a unity candle. And what that does is it's a symbol that shows that you're starting a new life together as one. So that's a tradition that my wife and I participated in. There are other traditions, though, like the 4th of July celebration that happens every year in America with the Independence Day celebrations. Also, if you've ever been to a wedding and they kind of throw some of those, like the bride will throw the bouquet over her shoulder, and then whoever catches it is supposed to be like the next person to get married. So those are types of things. They're every culture has their own customs and their own traditions. But those are some that are kind of personal to me and what I've experienced in my own culture. Now, language is also something that's really important in culture because it's how we communicate with each other. There are verbal and nonverbal ways that people communicate in a culture. For example, I'm using my hands when I talk a lot because, well, it helps me think and it also helps me express ideas. At least I hope it does. I hope it helps and doesn't distract. But the nonverbal ways, the gestures, those are important, right? If I put up this, all right, this means different things to different people. This could be two. This could be peace. This could be a variety of things. In America, this is often associated. There we go. This is often associated as like okay. It's like a thumbs up. Like all right, okay. But it also could be interpreted differently based on your culture. Now, why do we do that? Why do we have different languages? Why do we have different gestures? It's really to make it easier to express the ideas that are inside our heads. And so we can communicate those ideas to another person. So in Italy, Italy has a long history of being conquered by different peoples throughout the millennia. And I was lucky enough to I actually know somebody who was born and raised in Naples, Italy, and he was telling me about how they use their hands. They have different hand gestures that mean different things because it became a way of kind of communicating. Even though they were constantly changing the verbal language, the nonverbal language became that much more important. So if you ever meet somebody who was born and raised in Italy, there's a high percentage chance that they use their hands when they talk. And that comes from their history, but that's a part of Italian culture. And it's an important part because it's a way that they differentiate different ideas, different expressions. So that's language. Art and entertainment is our next category, our next characteristic of culture. And what it is really any sort of outward expression, right? It could be music, it could be painting, sculpture, theater, architecture, entertainment. In America, we're really big into making movies, right? We make a lot of movies in the United States, but really the purpose of it is it's a way that people and cultures express themselves and their values. So if you're really into a certain type of music, that's a part of your culture, right? If you look at like country music, that there's a certain kind of cultural aspect to country music. Or if you look at more traditional types of music, that's one that's kind of um, more obvious than some of the other ones. But it's the primary function of art and entertainment is to express yourself and express your values and your culture. Last but not least, we have religion. And what religion is a set of practices and beliefs regarding faith and usually the worship of one or more deities. Now, I say usually because not all religions worship a deity in that sense. And we'll talk about the different religions in the world more in a separate lesson. But it is important to understand these three terms: atheistic, monotheistic, and polytheistic. So atheistic means that they do not believe in a deity, and a deity is like a god. So they don't believe that there is a god. Monotheistic, right? People who are monotheists, which is a majority of the world, monotheistic people believe in only one deity. So that is like Christianity, Judaism, Islam, all believe in a single God. All right, so they are monotheistic religions. Polytheistic religions believe in more than one deity. So it could be two, three, four, it could be 1,000, but it's more than one, which is where that term poly comes in. And why people have religion is it helps us create a set of morals to live by, and it answers some basic questions about the unknown that help us make sense of the world around us. So this is something that all different aspects of culture do, but religion is very, very fundamental in understanding what different cultures are. It's a very core kind of aspect of culture, right? It's a key feature of a lot of different cultures. So those are the basic characteristics. What we're going to do next is we're going to dive in and we're going to take a look at a culture that is a little bit different than our own. And we're going to do that by researching it in the project that's coming up. All right. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And please, as always, let me know if you have any questions about this one.